A look at this machine leaves you confident that it is set to revolutionize the entire future of auto manufacturing, and it is pretty much a big deal. It is really hard not to be blown away by this fantastic innovation. With the same weight as 5 space shuttles, this machine needs about 24 flatbed trucks to deliver it from the manufacturer. Interesting still is the fact that this machine doesn't even fit inside the Tesla factory. Hello guys, welcome to Tech Unity. How is your day going? Hope you're having a great time. Before we proceed with this video, do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Kindly click on the notification bell to get updates on our exciting content. In today's video, we will discuss a few exciting subtopics. Why does Tesla need the Giga Press? How was the Giga Press inspired by a kid's toy? Will every single car manufacturer be obligated to go with the trend, or fall behind? Before we delve into all that, we need to understand what this machine is used for. So, what's the Giga Press for? First, it is imperative to note that a Giga Press is a series of aluminum die casting machines initially built by Idra Group in Italy. This machine is famous for being the largest high-pressure die casting machine in the entire world. Not only is it tremendous, but it also has a mouth-jarring clamping force of 55,000 to 61,000 kilonewtons. Now, if you're trying to understand how enormous this pressure is, this is over 6 million kilograms. Do you know how much that is? I can bet that anything found in between the arms of this enormous device is instantly crushed to a mush. However, this die casting machine forces a molten metal alloy into a reusable mold. It doesn't come as a surprise, since Musk is always about reusing materials. Anyway, the created mold is then opened, and the now solidified cut is cooled and thoroughly cleaned by robots and readied for its purpose. That said, join us now as we explore how and why Elon Musk and his group are putting intense pressure on his rivals. Let us investigate why there was a need for Tesla to install the 430-ton Giga Press. As we may have heard a couple of times, Elon Musk is a man on an unthinkable, maybe even crazy mission. He is constantly on the move to overthrow other tech companies. Seeing all he's achieved in the past couple of years, there is no doubt that he isn't just contented with blasting off civilization to Mars and assisting his precious monkey mate to play Pong, but he is also incessantly looking out for clever ways to make his day job at Tesla smoother and less stressful. This he does by dragging humans by the ear and into the electric vehicle era. And yes, you have guessed right, he's doing all that faster than we could have ever imagined. Once upon a time, Musk's ideas were termed crazy and non-feasible, but with the level of success he has achieved, anyone who ever doubted him is eating their words right now. His latest enormous idea was reportedly inspired by a cute little die-cast Hot Wheels toy car on his desk. Who would have thought something that dinky, and probably kept for decoration, would bring about something as interesting as a Giga Press? Remind me to think of an awesome invention like this one whenever I stare at the flower vase in my living room. I'm certain something would come to mind when I next lay eyes on them. Pondering as he ought to what the practical size limit for a die-cast vehicle really was, Musk understood there was no real logic why full-size autos cannot be mass-produced according to the same design philosophy as the dainty car on his desk. Well, that was it. After all, Musk could easily be referred to as Mr. Create the Machine that creates the machine. Discovering these sorts of productivities is what his whole existence is all about. So in modeling the magnificent Model Y redesign, which actually was built to have Tesla's new generation batteries perfectly fitted into it, this new design, with the help of the new generation of batteries, would be crafted into the chassis of the latest iteration of cars that would roll off the production lines. Elon then decided he was no longer happy with the rear underbody. It turned out that the rear underbody had a jittering 70 separate parts. With that number of parts, it would be very tough to maintain. Each of these 70 parts has to be carefully screwed, neatly welded, or perhaps glued to the other parts. And this is a complex and apprehensive process that devours a great deal of energy, time, and so much factory floor space. When there are all these to consider during production, silly errors are certain to creep in. Sandy Munro, a prominent auto industry engineer and consultant, brought the point home when he told Musk his honest view of the back of his Model 3 assembled. According to him, the rear end of the car was simply a patchwork quilt. A few months later, precisely in April 2020, Elon proclaimed to the whole world he'd bought the two largest casting machines in the world from the Italian engineering firm Hydra. According to Musk, he took this step in order to make giant self-contained parts, initially the rear underbody of the Model Y. The enormous machines, measuring about 20 meters long by 6 meters high, were installed speedily at the company's Fremont, California factory later that summer. Musk went on to announce that these giant gigapresses, so huge they wouldn't fit in the factory and was hurriedly covered up with a basic shelter in the parking lot, will go a long way to reduce the number of robots at the factory by up to 300. Well, this is really bad news for the robot nation. Nonetheless, the move is a wonderful one for Tesla, since the reduction comes with an understandable simplification for Tesla in terms of production and quality control aspects of producing and pipelining several separate parts. And on the part of the consumer, this is the best news ever. It is alleged that with the introduction of the GigaPress, cars have become cheaper and thus more accessible for consumers. According to specialists, Giga casting will help accomplish a 40% reduction in rear underbody manufacturing costs. Not only that, but the new single-piece casting design will also deliver a 30% cutdown in the size of the factory body shop. You are probably wondering how that actually works, right? Roughly speaking, all die casting, from toys to golf clubs to Tesla chassis, operate with the system of pressing molten metal into a reusable mold. Once the metal has solidified into the shape of the mold is gradually opened and the newly shaped metal is extracted, just like making plastic bottles. However, in Tesla's case, the metal in question is a classy and distinctive proprietary alloy that has about 90% aluminum, 8.5% silicon, with traces of copper, manganese, iron, zinc, titanium, and lead, among other numerous elements. An oven fueled with natural gas then heats the slabs of alloy to about 850 degrees Celsius. With this level of heat, this slab liquefies and then a useless ingot in the form of aluminum oxide is shredded away before the alloy is tapped into heated pipes and circulated to prevent it from setting. Argon gas and a rotary degasser are readily applied to keep nasty impurities away from the mixture. The whole compound is then passed through a silicon carbide filter to remove stubborn lumps larger than 25 micrometers. In order to grease up the whole process before insertion, robots coat the mold's interior with about 35 milliliters of soybean oil. The mold is then closed before pumps are permitted to form a vacuum inside. The molten metal is then driven into the mold at an extraordinary speed to prevent the hot metal from hardening. And then, it is properly lubricated with some extra lubricant to stop it from sticking to the sides. When the mold becomes full, it is then opened and cooled to about 400 degrees Celsius. Finally, the newly shaped metal part is then moved by a robot to a quenching tank at a chilled 50 degrees Celsius to help it form. A programmed trim press cuts off any unprofitable excess to fastidiously establish tolerances, shunting the waste back to be recycled somewhere else in the process, and the whole thing is X-rayed to ensure it is roadworthy. The last trimming is carried out by lasers. Then, conventional drills are meticulously deployed to get the final section set for the attachment to the car. Leave it to critics to point out a big problem the company might encounter in replacing 70 parts with only one part. According to them, when this single part is damaged, say by accident, the entire rear underbody will certainly look awkward and become excessively expensive to replace. Even Musk tweeted about this possibility on his handle. He said that the car's crash absorption rails can be cut off and replaced with a bolted part for collision repair. This doesn't apply if the collision is rather severe enough and the car is, of course, a write-off. Nonetheless, that's also true for most of the other contemporary vehicle designs. Another problem from the angle of the manufacturing process is that unavoidably during the casting process, microscopic amounts of the mold could get carried off onto the part itself during each casting. Eventually, the mold itself would then become too big, but thankfully there are replaceable parts of the GigaPress. Again, the lubrication stage goes a long way to alleviate this issue. Certainly Musk and his firm are going all in for this. There is a suggestion that the current GigaPress is in operation at Fremont, Berlin, Austin, and related machines in Shanghai are capable of a clamping force of 6,000 tons. Now, isn't that amazing? With this force, the press can effortlessly crush anything in its way. So however you look at it, these magnificent machines look ready to remit a big reaction. There you have it. Why Tesla needed the Giga press. What do you think? Will cars certainly consist of fewer and fewer parts as the Giga press gets improved on? Let us know in the comments. If this video was insightful, don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell button to be notified whenever we upload videos like this one. That's it for me, guys. Don't forget to stay classy and safe. I will see you in the next video.